all of those things that you're looking for in a person and in a romantic relationship. You can give yourself love, you can give yourself comfort, you can give yourself fulfillment, but for some reason, we trick ourselves into thinking that these things we can only gain from another person. Hello, my loves. Welcome back. I've just upgraded my room. So, welcome to the new space. In my last video, I was talking about how I needed to redecorate my room, but I ended up switching rooms with my sister. So, we have a little upgrade, and alhamdulillah, I'm so grateful. I wasn't expecting to get such a big room. And the decor, my dad, honestly, I'll give him all the credit. He ate with that wall. And now I'm just slowly setting up. I just put my shelf in. And yeah, so you'll see a bit more content of me getting my room set together. Now, today's episode, we have a guiding theme for today, and that is to kill that urge to be chosen and to choose yourself. The reason why I'm feeling like this is the theme, this is the topic for our conversation, is because I've curated a few different quotes that I've pulled from social media, from podcasts, just here and there, that kind of embody this statement. And so, yeah, let's get into this. This is going to be like a part two to the coffee date with your life coach episode. And let's start it off strong with a TikTok it just really spoke to me, okay? The quote on TikTok that really spoke to me was, "You are not craving a person, you're craving a feeling. Name that feeling, chase the feeling, and build the feeling within yourself. Then see who shows up in that energy." There's also this kind of term of becoming asexual when you lock in and when you're really focused on your goals and working. And I've kind of related to this a bit. It's kind of like you lose that desire to want a relationship so badly, like to want a person to give you comfort because you kind of just find yourself so consumed by your work and by achieving your goals and working towards your goals. And it's honestly a beautiful feeling because that drive and that ambition overtakes that feeling of loneliness and that void that you're trying to fill. So, whenever I really lock in, well, not all the time, but recently, for example, I'm starting to lose that desire for romance. That sounds so sad, guys. I don't literally mean that. Like, obviously, here and there, I'll just be like, the hopeless romantic in me needs a little something. But what I mean is like that urge to want romance so badly, it's no longer the driving emotion and the driving force that's guiding me. And so that's why I like this quote because you have to realize that you're not actually craving romance. What are you craving? You're craving a sense of fulfillment, a sense of comfort. And where is that coming from? Like, what are you trying to fill? And recognize that you can actually give yourself all of those things that you're looking for in a person and in a romantic relationship. You can give yourself love, you can give yourself comfort, you can give yourself fulfillment. But for some reason, we trick ourselves into thinking that these things we can only gain from another person. That sense of comfort you can only gain from another person. But that is so far from the truth. And that's a scary mindset to adopt and to live your life by because then if you don't have a person, how are you going to give yourself those necessary things such as comfort and fulfillment? You can't rely on another person for those things for your whole life. And so if you're young like I am and you find that you've just been guiding your life with searching for like a significant other, for example, you really need to find another purpose because love should not be your sole purpose. Obviously, you should treat everybody with love and kindness, and your days should be filled with love, but you need to have something that you can put your energy into that gives you a reason to wake up every morning that's not dependent on another person or dependent on finding another person. You need to be content with yourself and get yourself out of that mindset where you feel like another person is going to give you those things, those emotional senses of comfort and love and what you're longing for, what you're yearning for. Just, you need to shut it down. I sound a little bit pessimistic right now, but the truth is, you can give yourself all of those things that you're craving from another person. So, like the TikTok quote said, you need to figure out what that feeling is that you're chasing, and you need to build within yourself what you can to nurture that feeling. And I find that for many people, it could be that you're craving a sense of belonging, company, you're craving a good time, you're craving emotional connection. And these things are stemming from loneliness. And you've convinced yourself that finding a partner, finding a husband, finding a wife, a significant other, that will fulfill you. But the truth is, you're the only one who can fill those emotional voids. And I know it seems like something like comfort, you can't give that to yourself, but you can. I've done it. You have to become your own sense of comfort because the world is not always a safe and happy place, but you can make that for yourself. You become your own sense of comfort when you work on your internal self and you curate a safe space within yourself that you can always come back to. In fact, you should actually be guiding your life from your own internal world that you've worked on and built. And this space really starts with understanding your needs and the reasoning behind your actions. So, ways that you can work on eliminating this feeling that I'm talking about and work on building that inner self and building that feeling that you're craving. First, always intentional self reflection. It's always going to help you figure out what you're actually yearning for and where that sense is coming from, and then how you can kind of fill that sense that you're looking for. The next thing would be to just find your purpose. What are your passions? Like, what are you working towards? What makes you happy? And for me, starting this YouTube channel, starting this podcast, and starting to take my Lifestyle by Zara brand seriously, it's given me so much purpose. And I've recognized that, like, I love doing this. I love expanding on, like, the information and the perspectives that have come to my mind. And I'm also just motivating so many other women out there. And it's such a beautiful thing because if I can be that guidance or motivation for somebody, then it makes everything worth it. You know, my intention is to help improve others and to improve myself. I've found my purpose. Like, it makes me want to keep going and keep doing what I'm doing every day, keep working on my personal brand, keep making these episodes. You know, they do take time and they take effort, but I love it. And I'm getting so much positive feedback, guys. Like, I could cry. So many of you have DM'd me, people in public, and I'm just like, wow, I'm impacting people in a positive way. I guess I have a good intention behind this and I have a purpose, and it's really done something within me for sure. So I would say find a creative passion, find a goal to work towards. It really helps to clear that void, I guess, or to just give you something other than your search for love. You don't want to just guide your life with looking for another person to fulfill you because you need to fulfill yourself. The next quote is from this YouTube channel, and she said to be emotionally stable enough, not emotionally perfect. Please hear me when I say this. Emotionally stable enough to where I know I'm a flawed human being, to the point where I'll never get rid of my flaws and I'm still lovable because of my flaws. That's the secure person we're talking about. This quote touched me at the perfect time because I was in this season of feeling unlovable because of my environment, because of my past, because of just kind of uncontrollable circumstances. I felt like, who's going to understand me? Who's going to understand the experiences that I've gone through, and who's going to accept me for all of these things and, you know, quote unquote baggage? The truth is, if you've come to these conclusions and these understandings, then that just shows your level of emotional maturity. And being perfect has no place with being emotionally mature. Those two things are not synonymous, you know? And to be emotionally mature doesn't mean that you're a perfect person. It doesn't mean you're emotionally perfect. But being emotionally mature means that you do recognize that you're not perfect. And it's crazy because when you think about it, people who claim they are like perfect and who have maybe a bit of an ego problem, or they feel that they're better than others, they aren't always the most emotionally mature people. So that's why it's so important to stay grounded in that. If you're recognizing your imperfection and you maybe feel like you're not lovable or you're full of flaws, that just shows your maturity. And I pray that somebody one day will accept you fully for all of your flaws. And I pray the same for myself, because you just have to remember you are not defined by your flaws. You're not defined by being imperfect. We're human. Now, the next quote is, people that look like they have it figured out, most don't have it figured out. So you're not alone. And this is from Hanan's Corner, one of my favorite YouTubers. And I really like this because we always assume that people in our dream positions, they have a perfect life. They don't go through the same experiences that we do. But everyone has a human experience. No one's life is perfect. In fact, I've even had a few people reach out to me asking how I'm so disciplined or just asking for advice. And it kind of makes me feel like an imposter because I'm like, if you could really see my life through my eyes, you would see that I am nowhere near perfect. And I don't even feel like I'm at a place where I could give advice, I guess. Like, I know that I can, but I don't want to feel like I'm on some high horse or like on some pedestal in any way, shape, or form. Now, recognizing that other people are seeing me that way, it gives me a bit of dissonance because it's like I'm not all there and all perfect and all put together as I may present myself to be. So you just have to recognize that all of these people you look up to, they go through the same human motion. And there's beauty in that. You just have to accept that you're human at the end of the day. And you're going to go through things and you're not going to be able to show up exactly how you want to at every time. And that's okay. So if you're constantly feeling that kind of imposter syndrome or a bit of dissonance, then I guess it's kind of proof that you're growing and you're changing because you're not comfortable in who you are. And that's a really good thing because who wants to stay the same? The next quote from another one of my favorite YouTubers, Baja Abdi, and this one is, if someone's making you feel small, it's because they're so insecure and they need to make themselves feel better. I saw a quote that kind of relates to this that was going around on social media, and it said something along the lines of like, once you realize that everybody's actions are just a reflection of their own insecurities and their own pain, then you'll start to look at life so differently. And it's true, you'll start to feel a bit more empathetic towards people and recognize that when they treat you badly, it's really just a reflection of what they're going through inside. And although it doesn't excuse their actions, it can give you a bit of an explanation as to why. As humans, like, we always want to know why. Why is this happening? Why is this person doing this to me? And you don't always get the closure of that person explaining to you. Or even if you do, it's usually just backed by their own pain and their own things that they need to work through they're just ending up projecting onto you. Unfortunately, you're getting caught in it. And although it's a very sad thing, for you, you can move through life with more empathy, recognizing that everyone has a reason as to why they act a certain way or why they hurt people, why they treat people in certain ways. And although it's not always good, it's not always necessarily their fault. Like, it is their fault, obviously. You don't want to take away that acknowledgement portion, but it can kind of just give you a bit of closure, a closure that they're not going to give you. And from the opposite end, if you feel like, wait, why am I reacting so much? Why am I so angry? Why am I envious? Why am I feeling these negative emotions? Then realize that this could be your pain. You're allowing your pain and your anger to guide you. And that is a very scary thing. You don't want those emotions to guide you. You don't want to be emotionally led because you're also going to attract those same things at the same time. And just be very intentional with how you lead your life. What are you allowing to control and lead your life? And we should always lead our life with kindness and patience and respect. The next quote, another one of my favorite YouTubers, Sahar, I think it was from her Deen or Dunya Diaries. I really love that series. And she said, we're always living in a prayer, but we're always waiting for the next prayer to be answered. So you're always in a constant state of sabr. Sabr is patience, by the way, in Arabic. It can be very difficult to practice patience. That's something that I'm always making dua for and praying for is like, Allah, God, please give me patience because I feel impatient waiting for certain things to manifest into my life, into my reality. And it's important to be patient and to not like hold on so tightly to everything and to everything that you are desiring. But it's just such a cool perspective to look at it this way that you're constantly in this state of prayer. Even when you're living in answered prayers, you're still waiting for the next one to be answered. And so it just makes you really reflect on, am I living with gratitude? Because you're never going to stop asking for things. You're never going to stop asking your creator, asking God for things. You're going to constantly be praying, but you're also going to be constantly living in these answered prayers. So you need to constantly live with gratitude at the end of the day. And it's so easy to forget all of the blessings and all of the answered prayers. Like, there had been times, I guarantee you, that you were crying to God for something, and right now you have it, and you've just completely forgot the value of that prayer. And now you're on to the next prayer. And that really just shows how temporary our desires are. and how temporary our prayers are in this life is, because as soon as we get something, it loses its value. So that's why you have to constantly live in this state of gratitude while you're accepting new prayers that God's giving you. This last quote, my cousin actually said this to me, and it's crazy because it kind of sums up how I've been feeling and how I've been guiding my life. So shout out to Rayon, because we're both just going through this where we're like really building ourselves and just letting the blessings and the prayers come to us and really trusting God in this season of our lives. The quote is, if you try to chase a butterfly, it'll be very hard. But if you grow a garden, you will naturally attract a butterfly. And that's the beauty of life and of working on yourself, of self development. The more you work on yourself, the more you're going to attract, the more butterflies you're going to attract. And those butterflies, you can just look at them metaphorically as blessings, prayers, and that garden is you working on yourself internally and that manifesting into your external world. With this season of really trusting God, I've realized that I just need to focus on growing myself, on really aligning myself and working to become that woman that I envision. And that's why I don't really want to accept bare minimum offers at this season in my life. Even if they seem like good offers in this season, I know that the woman I'm becoming is going to have much better offers that will align with that future vision that I have. Whereas right now, what I'm going to attract is where I am. However, I know I'm going to get to this place. So why not just be patient, get to this place, and allow those better things to come and attract to me? That's the mindset. And it's actually really helped me to have more patience, because, we get a bit impatient waiting and waiting for our prayers to be answered. But once you just focus on your garden, don't focus on everyone else's grass. Don't focus on chasing a butterfly or multiple butterflies. Just focus on your garden, and you're going to get those butterflies. And the more you build your garden, when the rain comes, you're still going to have beautiful flowers left over after the rain. I don't know if you're getting my vibe here, but like, it's just, I loved that quote because that's exactly how I feel right now. I feel like I am building my garden, and inshallah, all those butterflies are going to come to me, those blessings, the people, the opportunities, the lifestyle. Inshallah, that's all going to come for us. I mean, so yeah, I feel like all of these quotes really just embody choosing yourself instead of waiting for somebody to choose you, because why would you do that? Like, give yourself everything that you want, because you can. You have the capacity to give yourself everything that you want. You don't need to wait for another person to come and give you the life that you want, the emotional feelings that you want. And you have tools, you have God, you have prayer, and you just have to practice that gratitude, that trust in God, and build your garden. And then you won't have to be chasing these butterflies and waiting to be chosen. Choose yourself. Okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you felt any connection to any of these quotes, leave a like, because I need to know if you guys like these videos. I really have no clue. If you're not liking and commenting, I don't really know like what you guys want. I don't know if you like this. So if you like this content and if this spoke to you and you feel aligned with this message, let me know. And drop a butterfly in the comments down below if you are building your garden right now and choosing yourself. I'm so happy we had this conversation, guys. Like, I needed to get all of this out. And I hope that this message was beneficial for you. So we'll talk soon. And I love you guys. Bye.